I want you to imagine this. It's 2016. Donald Trump is running for president and the United States-Philippines relationship is rocky. Tensions are high, especially after fiery rhetoric from both sides. Many believed the alliance was weakening, even collapsing. Fast forward to 2025, Trump is back in power and suddenly the tone has changed. Instead of pulling away, the United States is doubling down on the Philippines. Trade agreements, expanded military bases, even warmer diplomatic words, the kind no one expected a decade ago. So what happened? Why did the United States, under Trump, make the Philippines such a central part of its Asia strategy? Let's break it down. The US and the Philippines have always had a complicated bond. For over a century, their histories have been intertwined, first through colonization, then as wartime allies, and later through deep economic and cultural ties. But alliances aren't always smooth. In 2016, Trump himself used harsh language toward Filipinos during heated debates about immigration and security. At the same time, then Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte was loudly criticizing Washington, even flirting with closer ties to China. Many analysts predicted the alliance would weaken, or even break apart. But that didn't happen. Because underneath the noise, something bigger was at stake: the South China Sea, and the future of Asia's balance of power. The wake-up call came quickly. By 2020, China had built artificial islands, militarized reefs, and really extended its reach deep into waters claimed by the Philippines. Manila even won a landmark case at The Hague back in 2016, proving China's claims were illegal. But honestly, enforcement was a whole different story. For Washington, this was a wake-up call. If the United States wanted to counter China's influence in Asia, it couldn't do it alone. It needed allies, real allies. And among them, the Philippines stood out for one key reason: geography. If you take a look at the map, you'll see the Philippines sits right at the very center of the Indo-Pacific, with sea lanes that connect the Pacific Ocean to the South China Sea. Control of those waters means control of trade, security, and, well, influence. And Trump, always a strategist, saw the writing on the wall. Now, in 2025, Donald Trump is no longer just a candidate, he's president again. And instead of distancing himself from Manila, he's moved in the opposite direction. In his own words during a meeting with President Bongbong Marcos Jr., Trump called the Philippines a great place and praised the alliance as vital for peace and stability in Asia. That's a far cry from the fiery rhetoric of 2016. So, why the shift? Let's look at three key factors. The trade deal nobody saw coming. In mid-2025, Trump announced a new trade deal with the Philippines. Here's what it included: a 19% tariff on Philippine exports to the United States, 0 tariffs on U.S. goods exported to the Philippines, and expanded market access in agriculture, energy, and tech. Critics called it lopsided. They argued it favored U.S. producers more than Filipino exporters, but Marcos Jr. accepted it anyway, because the deal wasn't just about trade, it was about strategy. By tying Manila closer to Washington's economic system, both leaders ensured that the Philippines wouldn't drift into China's orbit. For Trump, it was a win-win: boost American exports while locking down a loyal ally. Military expansion like never before. The United States already had a presence in the Philippines through the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. But under Trump's second term, that presence expanded massively. Here's what's happening right now. In 2025, 9 U.S. military bases are being expanded or upgraded across the Philippines. New missile defense systems are being deployed. Joint exercises between U.S. and Filipino forces are at record levels. For Washington, this isn't just about defending the Philippines, it's about creating a forward base against China. For Manila, it's about security guarantees in an increasingly dangerous region. And for Trump, it's about showing strength, one of his favorite political tools. The human factor: Filipinos in America. Here's something often overlooked: over 4.6 million Filipino Americans live in the United States today. That's one of the largest Asian communities in the country. And they're not just numbers. They're voters, they're workers, they're healthcare heroes. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Filipino nurses made headlines for their frontline sacrifices. Many lost their lives serving patients in American hospitals. Trump, whether out of strategy or genuine recognition, understands this community's importance. By strengthening ties with the Philippines, he's also speaking to millions of Filipino Americans at home. It's politics, it's geopolitics, and it's personal all at once. What changed Trump's mind? So, was this really a transformation? Did Trump change his mind about Filipinos and the Philippines? The truth is more nuanced. Trump hasn't suddenly become sentimental. His decisions are driven by strategy. But, strategy has a funny way of shaping perception. In 2016, he may have viewed the Philippines as a liability. In 2025, he views it as an asset, an indispensable partner in America's competition with China. And honestly, that perception changes everything. Now let's be clear, not everyone in the Philippines is celebrating. Some fear the new trade deal puts too much pressure on Filipino exporters. Others worry about sovereignty, asking, are we becoming too dependent on the US again? Why it matters. At the end of the day, Trump's pivot to the Philippines isn't just about one country, it's about Asia. It's about the future of global trade. It's about who sets the rules in the most important region of the 21st century. The Philippines, once underestimated, is now a frontline player in this grand chessboard, and Trump knows it. Final reflection. So let's return to the question, why did Trump, once critical of Filipinos, now call the Philippines a great place and treat it like a key partner? Because in geopolitics, alliances shift. Enemies can become friends. And sometimes the smallest players on the map turn out to hold the most important pieces. The Philippines has always been resilient, resourceful, and ready to punch above its weight. Now, under Trump's second term, that resilience is being recognized, not just by Washington, but by the world. And whether you see it as opportunity or risk, one thing is clear. The US-Philippines alliance has entered a new chapter, and the story isn't over yet. If you believe the Philippines deserves a bigger role in the world stage, drop A in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this story is only getting started.